want to watch this. No, maybe more people will. Recording will start soon. Let's see, and I guess I want to present now.
Just like my progress notes when I was.
And I emailed you, Jonas, the
recording will start soon.
Yeah, I have emailed you our lovely document here, and I've added you to our group. So if at any time you are not wanting to get these emails, just let me know. So hello, everyone. Today is September the 24th, 2020 for our recording. I am Wes Fryer. We have some hardy, committed Google using educators here today, and we are going to share probably about, well, we could go as long as you all want, but we're probably going to go about 15 or so minutes with some instruction about some YouTube tips and tricks. And then for those that would like, I've created a document with some activities which are very similar, but not the exact thing, because I am honoring my non-disclosure agreement, having taken the level 1 test, and this is being recorded, right? So now when I do a YouTube live show with a friend on Wednesday nights, and it transcribes everything, which is kind of cool, but then you think, well, that means anything I say will be searchable. And if you say certain things like Providence is in Western China or whatever, anyway, it's interesting. So this resource, if you would like to access it, I'm going to have it a couple places. We're going to put this recording and the slideshow on our, what we call our Casady Genius Bar page, and we've got recordings to other sessions, and that is at support.casady.org. And then I did this version of this probably 5 years ago, and some things have changed, but a lot of the basics of YouTube are still the same. And you can get to that by going to wfryer.me/YouTube. But on this slideshow, which I have now emailed to all of you, this second slide, if you would like, has direct links to the 3 main categories of skills that Google Education considers to be, quote, essential YouTube skills. So there's the Teacher Center, where all of their professional training is for the certification stuff. And so what I did was I just directly linked these to those 3 things. And so this is kind of nice. It says expected time, 14 minutes. And these are all basically less than 15 minutes, or sorry, not less than 15, they're less than 30 minutes. And they've modularized this. And so I'm not going to go through this. I'm just going to kind of share with you kind of the skills have overlap for sure. There's a couple things I want to throw in here that are very related, but aren't necessarily in the website. All of this training, as we've talked about, can be done online. So we don't have to come face to face with each other. But I think there's a lot of value in doing that. And based on our sharing before we just got started, I think we should do email next time, because actually, even though there's this assumption today that, oh, you got email, here you got an email account, you got all you need. Man, there's so many things with filtering and tasks and contacts and different things that, especially with filtering, I really don't, for the purposes of the recording, want to open my email right now for you to see, the unread messages. But anyway, I struggle with inbox zero and trying to, stay afloat and all that. And one of the best things a couple weeks ago was when I got to unsubscribe to all of our mailing lists at school except middle division. It was great. But anyway, so I think unless someone has a burning desire, because the test is very comprehensive of all the Google tools. And so we're thinking that we'll kind of dive deeply into a different tool each time. And then, we'll go from there when we run out. But there's like 10 or 12 core tools that the test talks about. There were 11 different sections that were on it. So slide number 2, feel free to explore that on your own, but those are the categories. And so what I did was basically make a couple different slides, and I'm going to show these, and we'll just kind of see how many of these we can kind of get to. Or if we want to jump to something, we can just go right to that thing. I broke these skills for YouTube into viewer skills and creator skills. Most of us are, well, probably everybody, on the viewer skill side, and we have an opportunity, and that's one of the things to talk about. Why would I want to do this? To be on the creator side, especially with remote learning, but even remote learning aside, it can be very beneficial to have a place other than Google Drive to share videos, and we can talk a little bit about those reasons. So if we think about skills for being a viewer, and these are the kind of things that the test is asking us to do, we should be able to find high quality videos on a topic but also sort and filter that search. One of the best things about going to the Google Certified Teacher program back in 2005 or whatever in Boulder, they didn't assume we all knew everything about search. Google is a search company, and it's amazing. I mean, when you have somebody who is really into how you can customize and advanced search and things like that, that'll be actually a good topic for us to do, because that's one of the core skills. But we'll talk about in the context of YouTube. So I'm going to kind of give you an overview of what these are, and then see what we want to do, because we can dive in. We will not have time to dive into all these. And so maybe if there's any of these that pique your interest, we can go to those. And I can also I'll show you the skill activity that I did at the end, and then we can just kind of demonstrate those if you want to do that too. Sharing links. So, and this is kind of obvious, but there's different ways to get links, whether that link includes the playlist that it's in, or it's just by itself. You can also do some kinds of customized sharing, but being able, for instance, to take a link and put it into Google Classroom and share that with your kids, that's a core skill. One that's not on the test, and I think is really important, is safe link sharing. And by safe, I kind of mean like less distracting. So taking out related videos, taking out the comments. The site I use now is called View Pure, but there's also Safe YouTube. These sites just strip everything else except for the video. And so as long as that company or website stays in business, you're fine. And we've had some that kind of come and go, but I really like that. And even for older kids, it's just nice because you have no control over what shows up in related videos and stuff. And so I have a link here. It actually goes to our support page. And this is one of the modules that I've built out that's just called Safe Link Sharing. So actually, I'll just do this one super fast, because this one is not in the YouTube training. I've got Safe YouTube, Watchkin, and View Pure. Viewpure.com is the one I'm doing right now. So I'm going to go to YouTube, which, by the way, we'll just jump into a skill. History. If you're in your YouTube channel, unless you've set it to be different, it's keeping track of all the different videos that you've seen, and you can scroll through those and go back. And it's actually a really great thing to find stuff later, because we're probably all doing this, where we find something and we're like, oh, that's great. I'm going to want to share that. And then if we don't do something with it at that time, oh gosh, I don't remember what it was called. I can't find it again. So when you're logged into YouTube, and I have, a separation. This is my Casady account. I use the people function in Chrome to kind of separate my life. So I'm not in my personal account. You can have them commingled, and a lot of people do. But I'm actually aware of that, because as you use YouTube, you're training YouTube on the things you like and what it's going to show you. And like, you really don't want your child or spouse or a student to just come look for their own YouTube stuff, because then it's like they've corrupted your channel. You can remove things from your history. But anyway, here is a video we watched today. Sixth graders now have iPads, and they have them for the semester. So I'm teaching them how to sketchnote. And this is a TED Talk that was just wonderful, by a woman who actually is a graphic artist, a graphic facilitator. She goes to meetings and makes their ideas visible. And she tells the stories about being this kid in class and the teachers getting angry with her for drawing these pictures, but they were notes. And so it's all about visual notes. So anyway, that's an example of showing it. So if I wanted to send this to my kids, if I go up here to the top, this link, like, I only played 1 second of it. I really don't want to share the link just right at the top, because let's say I watched more of it and it said T = 30 seconds. Well, that would actually be sharing a link to go to 30 seconds into the video. So when you share a YouTube link, generally you want to just scroll down, and to the bottom right of the video, you've got these buttons. When you click like, you're training YouTube. We're being tracked all the time on what we're doing online. There's a great documentary, by the way, as an aside, called The Social Dilemma. It's on Netflix. It's really, really good.
I've heard people freaking out recently.
Well, and yeah, ultimately what they say I agree with, and that is that we're going to need people to really have a kind of a populist uprising for privacy, because we have no privacy law here. In Europe they do, but we're going to need that, and we're going to need to restrain the companies now that use our data. And this whole economic model is called surveillance capitalism. And anyway, it's a thing. So YouTube is tracking. I actually really like YouTube, and I love Like I like smoking barbecue meat, and I have found great folks who are teaching me stuff all the time. And so I like the fact that its recommendation engine is working for me. There's good sides and bad sides. That documentary actually says we're living in utopia and dystopia sort of at the same time, because democratic elections and human rights and all these things are being subverted globally, and they probably will continue to be for the foreseeable future. But we also, can get great barbecue smoking recipes. And like any recipe,
Didn't even
right?
know that's what I wanted to watch next week.
Right, yeah, and that's all part of the thing too, like hooking us in. Which, by the way, I always uncheck this box up here called Autoplay. Have you all done that? Yeah, you want to uncheck Autoplay because otherwise YouTube's just going to keep showing you stuff, right? And I really don't want that. I kind of want to decide, okay, yes, I want to watch a video. No, I don't. By the way, the way I'm zooming in on the screen here, there's a built-in accessibility feature on our Macs where I can hold down a couple keys and then it just zooms to my cursor. And that's actually a really handy thing when you're showing any content. On the iPad, you can just pinch with your fingers in a lot of apps. But on the Mac, it's in accessibility, so that's that blue circle, and you look under Zoom. And so anyway, I
think you can still do it. It depends on the browser, but you can still do it on different browsers.
Yeah, yeah, and I do that sometimes too with like Command Plus and Command Minus, and
No, like
it depends on what the content is. Yep. Yeah, oh, look at that. Yeah, with the trackpad. Awesome. Good. Okay, so long way of saying, here is the share button, and if I click on the share button here, it's going to do this pop-up, and that's the link that I will usually copy. That will not take me 30 seconds in. That's okay. That will take me to the beginning of the video. So instead of sharing that so the kids have all these related things or whatever, if I've got View Pure, I simply paste in my link, which I copied, Command C, Command V, ta-da, that's it. So I'll send them this link, and that is everything's absent. It's distracting. There's nothing related. There's no comments.
so do you have a chapel live stream?
They should, yes. And it's I really, yeah, I think. You bet. I'm going to go back here to my video. And so down here below in the bottom right corner, I'm clicking the button here that says share. So this would be to like or not like, share. And then this is where I build my playlists here, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But when I click on share, it pops this box up and then it's saying like share to Twitter, share to Facebook. I don't want to do that. I just want to copy it. And so I am just clicking the copy I'm tapping the copy button here. So that's the YouTube link that's not based on how much time I've watched. It's going to start at the beginning.
Question.
Yes.
What I always often do, you can sort of see the fences, I just cut and paste from the address window. Is that the same?
Well, a lot of times it can work, but what I was pointing out here is, and this is a good web literacy thing. This is an ampersand, I think that's the term. And so anything after, on a web link after an ampersand, that's how a lot of cookies and tracking and stuff works, is they'll be like, oh, you came from, ESPN or whatever. In this case, it's appended on there, and it's T=1. Now, it's actually a cool trick. And this is something that I don't have in this slideshow, but sometimes you want to show kids a portion of a video. In fact, I learned 2 summers ago about video annotation and being able to have threaded discussions alongside a video, but being able to cut it up and saying, we're just going to talk about these 2 minutes. So anyway, this is a quote sort of hack, is that you have to convert minutes to seconds, but if we wanted to be 60 seconds in, we change that 1 second to 60, and that video, I'll show it to you. If I change this to 60 seconds. Then when I send this link to somebody and start to play, you'll see it's not starting at the beginning.
Well,
It started 60 seconds in.
YouTube will do it for you. You click on the share.
Okay.
Okay. Do you see at the bottom? it says
Oh,
start
look at you. Look at you.
And
Nice.
So you can tell it. So like if you want to say,
That's lovely.
watch something starting at 5 minutes in.
Nice.
So all you have to do is play to the point or move the video to the point where you want it to start, and then automatically.
Lovely. Thank you for sharing that. Because this is one of those things where like they're always adding things or there's different little things. But if you don't see that or somebody doesn't mention it, just like literally didn't know that it was right there, but it was in front of my eyes the whole time.
I've been following along, and I've gone and I put my link in View Pure.
Okay.
And once I do that, if I was gonna add it to say Google Classroom, do I go to the copy link at the top of the page, or do I try to embed this video?
You'll just copy the link at the top of ViewPure, and you don't have to really do anything else.
Okay.
ViewPure does have actually these toggles. So once I put it in here, you can put in a start time and an end time.
Oh, okay.
And then you can make playlists or whatever. I don't really use that. I just throw a link in there, but I'm sharing the ViewPure link.
Okay.
Now, one thing I've found the hard way with some, so viewpure.com. So I just put the link in there, and then it might just be taking the code. You know, every YouTube video has its own number.
Oh, this strips everything away.
Yep, it strips it away. So anyway, this is not in the test, but I think this is one of the things we would love every teacher to know about, because you just don't have any control over related videos. And sometimes it's not a problem. But a few years ago at my men's group, somebody sent a video, and anyway, there was something that was in related for some people that was so egregious and upsetting that like nobody talked about what the video was about. It was just all this related. So sometimes, you know, it can be distracting. But okay, so that was a bit of an aside, but I think it's a good skill to have and a good thing to share. We already talked a little bit right there about liking and about history, which is good. Ad blocking is something else that's not on, but I think it's so important. And so I have a link to this extension. This one is called uBlock Origin. It's free. You can do it in Firefox. You can do it in Chrome. And so I have it on, and I'm so spoiled because on our Apple TV, this doesn't happen. I mean, when you look at not just YouTube, but a lot of websites, I mean, news sites, other things, and you don't have the ad blocker on, it's like, oh my gosh, really? If you've seen Ready Player One, it's like this future virtual reality world, and what corporations are trying to do is to buy all the space. You know, think about billboards just everywhere, you know, virtually. So anyway, that is a good thing to have on because the ads are blocked, and I don't see any pre-roll ads. I don't see any little pop-ups. I see zero, everything. It is absolutely fantastic. And so that can really enhance the instructional, you know, experience for everybody by just not having these distractions, you know, popping up as you're showing something.
Does it block the ones that happen in the middle?
It does, yes. It blocks them all. That's why I'm just so spoiled by it. And then I was trying to do this geeky thing this weekend, this Raspberry Pi, and you can set it up so it blocks everything. And it doesn't work with Apple TV. It blocks a lot. But I could just pay Google $10 a month. They have a thing called YouTube Red, which they're constantly reminding me about, and then we wouldn't see them.
I'm surprised that these blocking programs are allowed to continue to exist, because the point of YouTube is either you are going to pay them for the privilege of having no ads, or they're making money off of
it's
you.
part of it. Surveillance capitalism actually monetizes our data, maybe even more so than the ad viewing, but it's both. And you're absolutely right. It's a cat and mouse kind of thing where, you know, companies are struggling to try to enable consumers to do that, and the companies are trying to, you know, on news sites you see this, please, and you know, our money, you know, our livelihoods depend on our ads. Turn off your ad blocker, you know, whitelist us because, you know, we need our ad revenue. So it's definitely a struggle, and something that, you know, YouTube and Google, it's one of the reasons why I love having a laptop and not having everything on this device, because phones and iPads are great, but they're much more locked down. They're not as extensible. I can't install my own little custom, you know, things on them. So, okay, we're going to come back to playlists, because that's probably the most important skill that maybe you may or may not be working on, that is on, can I say that? Has a high likelihood of being on the test. So it's one of those core things that they talked about. And so that's the next thing I'm going to come back to. In terms of creator skills, really quickly, why in the heck would I want to put stuff on YouTube? Wes, that sounds so scary. I mean, YouTube was created for video sharing, so it optimizes files. I was helping one of our faculty or our staff members a couple weeks ago who's making some videos, but the videos she's making are almost 1 gigabyte in size, and they're like 15 minutes long, and she's putting them on Google Drive. And like every teacher who opens that, like that just takes a lot of time. So we got her to set up a YouTube channel, and she's putting them on unlisted, which is just like an unlisted phone number. If you don't have the link, nobody's going to it. It's not discoverable. In fact, if you look at her channel, it doesn't look like she's done anything because it's all unlisted. So anyway, part of the why, and this has to do with remote learning and kids and home internet and devices, is when someone clicks on a YouTube link, even if it's going through ViewPure or something else, they are going to get an optimized version for their device and also for their speed. So if they don't have a super high speed, it's not going to try to give them a 4K or a 720p, which is HD DVD quality. It's just going to give them a lower quality. They're still going to see it, but it's going to adjust speed. It's going to do a lot of smart things. So that's a big part of the why of YouTube. It's also great to just manage your videos, because Google Drive, I don't know what yours looks like, but it can be a dumpster fire, and it can take a while to get it cleaned up if you've put a lot of stuff into it. And I've been helping my wife with that, and I'm working on that myself. But anyway, all of us can have a teacher channel. And basically that means you click in the corner and you click create channel. And if you haven't done that, I would encourage you to do that. Uploading looks different from a laptop than it does from a mobile app, but you can do it either place. You can, and that's one of the quicker ways to shoot a video. Meredith Marinick, who's a 4th grade teacher, actually shared a few weeks ago. I didn't know this. You can actually open up Google Classroom, and if it's 10 minutes or less, you can send it right into Google Classroom. You don't even have to go to Drive or to YouTube, but it is a 10-minute limit, because I tried to do my class that way and it stopped after 10. But that is one of the ways in terms of trying to lessen cast and speed stuff up. Like today, I opened up a Hangout Meet, and I'm just recording this. That's why I'm kind of stepping back a little bit so my head's not completely cut off, maybe. It's a challenge to figure out the workflow and how many steps, and do I have to, because when you work with these big files, the less you have to do on the backside, which is called post-production, the better. So that's a skill of uploading. I already mentioned visibility, and I think it's great to have public videos and to show things. I've heard beautiful stories, by the way, from students in math class, or if they've taken math, about these folks. And I've heard teachers who have math channels, the stories they hear, the thank you for sharing this. You've taught this in such a great way. Anyway, and our daughter Rachel has definitely benefited from different teachers and other people sharing things on YouTube and explaining how to solve problems and how to do things. So it's up to you. But private, what I say about private is, if you have a controversial video, so there's some issue, a kid's face is in it who shouldn't be there, whatever, rather than just delete it, you could make it private. That means nobody else is seeing it unless you specifically put their email address in. And if there's some controversy, then it's there. You could look at it. It's not just deleted. I basically don't use private at all. I either have my stuff unlisted or public. Meta information is the data that you put in. That's training YouTube to tell it what it is. So if it's a calculus video, you probably want to have calculus either in the title or the description or in the tags. Now we have to say whether every video is made for kids or not. And that has to do with ads, because as soon as you say made for kids, there are no comments possible, and there are no ads that are going to be shown to students. Thumbnails means, do you have a special little picture that shows up, or does YouTube just grab something? And so, so if you look here, so these are pages, but this is a video, but see how it has a nice little slide. I made a slide in Google Slides and then saved that, and I made that thumbnail. So that's like a fancy thing, if kind of putting icing on the cake of your birthday cake or whatever. You don't have to do that, but it is kind of nice. And what YouTubers know is that it makes a big difference. What do you see initially? Is that a hook? And this is a media literacy thing about, what do I watch? What do I see? How do I get somebody's attention? I put a couple other things on here. Creator Studio, which I'm not going to have time to get into a lot of the weeds of this, but when I go to YouTube, up here in the upper right corner, where my lovely little picture is, you click on that, and if you've created a channel, and this is what it'll ask you first, it'll say make a channel. It has a link here called YouTube Studio. And this has changed a little bit just in the last couple years. But the YouTube studio is behind the curtain. Okay, it's like, you know, the great and powerful Oz, and behind the curtain, woo, look at all these knobs and handles of what we can do. So all my videos that I have in my channel are here. My playlists are here, so I can see those and modify those and change those. Analytics are here, which, you know, we may not care that much about, but it's kind of cool. You know, how many hours have people been watching, you know, these videos? Comments are important. You can choose to have those off, you know, by default. I have actually, they're holding some for review. These are ones that I haven't responded to. I don't know. I don't pay that much attention to the comments.
This is about.
What's that?
This is about.
In terms of where I got this or where we found.
Oh, you have to already have set up that you're going to create a channel.
You'll create a channel.
You're gonna create a
So
channel.
in the so in the upper in the upper right corner, when you click on your picture, this is for Chrome. So I'm down, got my picture here twice. It's the lower one, which is my account icon. Then you're going to choose to YouTube Studio is what it's called. And then analytics should be on the left. Yep. Thank you, assistant. Appreciate that.
So some questions.
Yep.
So if I decide I want to store videos on YouTube, if I ever want to like download them to get them off,
Yes.
can I?
Yes, you can.
At what quality will the videos be at?
The top quality. So when I this is for your own videos. And when you want to download other people's, which I end up needing to do, wanting to do sometimes temporarily, it's another cat and mouse thing, because YouTube doesn't want people to do that for other people's videos. But when I'm here on my video, if I'm just here in my videos, I can go ahead and I'll zoom in here so this is a little easier to see. I could edit the details. I can view the analytics. I can look at comments. I can play. But right here, ta-da, and that 3 dots, which is YouTube's, like some people call that a hot dog, a hamburger. It's more choices. Click on the 3 dots. Download, and so that's full quality.
Okay, so the nicest quality that I uploaded is the nicest quality I can download.
Right.
Okay.
Now, I'll say this, okay. I'm honestly happy and glad, I think at this point, that our school doesn't have a policy about this, because like I've had my personal YouTube channel for a long time, and I still publish stuff there. I have discerned sort of on my own, what do I what do I do where? Basically, if it's for class and it's anything here, I'm doing it on my Casady channel. But like in the evening, and I publish other things or whatever, you know, and sometimes like all the lesson cast stuff I did this summer, I mean, basically if I'm doing it under contract for the school, I do it here. The school hasn't come out and told everybody that. And we have people that have personal channels that they've put kids and personal stuff on. And I really think it's important for us to have some conversations about this, because if you would have trouble or something would be lost or you'd need help, like we can't as a school help with those things if they're not on a school channel. But right now, to my knowledge, and I'm pretty tuned in on that, we don't have that like in a faculty handbook or anything like that.
We do now.
Oh, we do?
Yeah. It
Okay.
happened over the summer.
Oh, okay.
Sandy created a document that's essentially I can find it for you.
Okay, I know, as far as curriculum, with the curriculum stuff.
But it talks about essentially all your school related materials need to be, they talk about Google Drive.
Yes.
And so, you know.
I don't know with YouTube specifically, because I know some, I know some cases, there are some things that need to probably be brought in, so.
But the policy says that it needs to be accessible by the school.
Good, and that's, I knew about those kind of things. I was just thinking as far as the YouTube stuff and the channels, and I don't know, there's conversations which could be had by other people than myself about some of those kind of things, so.
So in line with that, so my second question is, if I am using YouTube to do this, generally they say, well, for the convenience of doing this, that also means that we share ownership of the videos. Is that the case for YouTube?
I mean, intellectual property wise, I don't think YouTube claims ownership over our content. So creators have ownership over their content. So like if I were to delete it, then it's theoretically deleted. Right. Yeah. YouTube is not going to maintain its own archive. And like the whole thing of copyright and all that stuff too is a good thing to talk about in music. And there's like super conversations to have about what we can do and fair use and things like that. But yeah, when you have the ownership, and with the school's channel, it would be a co-owned thing. But when it's deleted, it's deleted.
Okay.
However, if it's on a school channel, I mean, there may be emails. The thing that, and I only had this happen once as tech director with a lawsuit and a divorce with parents. But like when you have a judge who's given an order to say, I want every email that was ever sent that had these words in it and that was sent to this person or whatever, you're like, wow, 5-year retention. That's really a big deal. Email is the main thing that happens with. Content that's deleted generally in Google Drive and things like that, I think it really goes away after 30 days. It goes into a trash. And so, but there are ways that we can work with Google if we would need to, and especially if there'd be some kind of legal thing to get stuff. Just really quickly, I'll mention subtitles. You can change defaults on your channel. So if you, if you're always talking in English, you can say that, or if it's in Spanish, you can change those things on the fly. But subtitles are actually really powerful, and they're getting really good. Artificial intelligence and machine learning just continues to get better, and it's amazing how good that is. And that can really help students. That's something they can turn on, but you can also, turn it on by default. Okay, so those are basically, why did I have a second copy of that? Those are basically the skills that I kind of highlighted. And then in terms of skill practice, and then we can dive into some of these, and I'm kind of blowing through my 20 minutes. So just let me know what we want to do. But these, in terms of activities, if you could do these things, I think you would be well prepared for the YouTube portion of the level 1 exam. And so I do want to show at least playlist and the creation of that. And if you want to practice that, that's a really important skill, because playlists can be public or unlisted. And you can choose how they're sorted, whether the newest video is there or you specify the order. And so I just said, make a playlist of 3 videos about discovery of phosphine on Venus. We already looked at the YouTube history, but being able to do that and find a video in your history is a good thing to know. And then finding a channel that relates to your curriculum, subscribing to it, liking videos. Those are basically some of those skills. But as I said, if you look at the YouTube Teacher Center, as it's called, finding high quality educational content on YouTube, curating it, and that means making a playlist. That means saving it and being able to do something with it. And then when it says creating the optimal viewing experience, actually, I'm not even sure. What does that mean? That's sort of what I was saying with optimization, the way that YouTube is going to optimize the videos. They're going to allow for subtitling. There's a restricted mode. It deals with low bandwidth. So that's kind of speaking to the benefits of putting your stuff on YouTube. So let me show real quickly playlists, and then if there's another one that you want me to talk about, I can, or we can just turn off the recording and do some practice time. So I'm just going to open up YouTube, and I want to show you playlists. So I'm gonna just put in, because it's interesting. Did you hear that Russia claimed Venus last week?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, the head of a Russian commercial group said they own it, and it's theirs.
I know that nobody can own the moon, but we didn't.
No, there's a 1967 law, which I've read an article about this, not that that should roll off my tongue otherwise, but there's a 1967 international treaty which says that countries cannot claim exclusive ownership over celestial bodies, which I think is going to mean asteroids and all that. I mean, our son is supporting the International Space Station now that he's graduated from college and has a job. And it is like super fascinating because law of the sea and pirates, the way that salvage rights work, and like to what extent does the rules of international, international behavior in unclaimed, unterritorial waters going to translate to space. The ISS actually just had to move because of space junk this week, and it came within like a kilometer or something.
I've heard that that's a growing concern, the amount of space junk.
Right. Okay, so here I put in phosphine Venus, right? At the top of my search results, there's this little button, and it says filter. So this is really powerful, because when you click on filter, now we can decide, do I want short or long? Fantastic. This is going to be short. I just want to give my kids an update. I'm going to click short. So now this is a filtered list that's only showing me the videos that are 4 minutes and less. Upload date. How, current do I want to have this? Well, it's kind of current because this just happened. I could say this week, this month. I think I'll just say this month, but I'm not going to be getting any old stuff now because this is a current event. And then there's special kinds of videos. And I mean, if I wanted to be showing them 360-degree versions or VR, these are all different filters that I could have. And then it also says, what am I going to sort by? It is automatically sorting by relevance. So it's using an algorithm that very smart people wrote to try to present me with what they think would be the best content. But if I want to know, hey, what have the most people viewed? Then I'll click view count. If I want to see the ones that people have rated the highest, just like Amazon when we search and try to buy a product, that's helpful to know who's rated it the most. So let's just go by view count. So this one is from MIT, and I can see here it has 250,000 views, 330,000 views, and that's a week ago. And that's also something that is pretty substantial because that happened pretty quickly. The check mark beside it, do you know what that means? The channel name? Verified. It's a bona fide account. So they've gotten YouTube, they've gone through a process to basically, indicate they're legit or whatever. So anyway, there you go. So I use the filter tool to basically, search a little bit, curate, and really try to hone in on some specific kinds of videos. So I'm going to choose to open this up. As a technique, what I just did, I didn't just click on it. I actually, on my trackpad here, use my 2 fingers to 2-finger tap. It's the right click. And that gives me more options. And so I like to do that to open it in a new tab. That's kind of a Chrome skill. But that way I've got my list over here. And then in this new tab, I've got this video that I'm interested in. Okay. So if I was, for instance, asked to subscribe, the big red button there, I'm going to be clicking subscribe. And now I have subscribed to the MIT Institute of Technology's official channel that has 637,000 subscribers. If I click like, that is informing YouTube that I like this. YouTube also watches me and how much I watch. It knows how much of the video I've watched. When you click the analytics of your video, this gets curious because you might wonder, and if you have an unlisted video you've just given to your kids, guess what? All the analytics are your kids, unless somebody has shared it out. It's interesting. It's interesting, because this is what people will say about making videos for kids. We need to try to do 5 minutes or less. You can do all the videos you want, but for most contexts anyway, that's what people recommend. So let's talk about playlists. Over here underneath the bottom right corner, I clicked like. I could click share. We did that before. I'm going to click on save. The save is what gives me my playlists. Everybody already has a watch later playlist. You don't create that. It's created for you. This is actually great because we will probably all, and we have had this happen, man, that's awesome. I don't have time to watch that. So if you put it in your watch later playlist, then that is on the side. You can click it. You can go to it quickly. And YouTube, and even on Apple TV, actually, I like to probably find videos on my laptop or whatever, but we watch them, sometimes at home. And so I can access that on the Apple TV. All of these other things are playlists that I've made. So I have one called, computer class, flex learning instructions, how-to technology videos, Spanish lesson videos, Minecraft, whatever you're into, you can make a playlist. And the globe next to it means it's public. So people who come to my channel could actually see it. And one of the skills, hint, that you want to know is how do I make an unlisted playlist versus a public playlist? So the way to do it is right below. It says create playlist. And I'm going to call this space exploration because I actually really do kind of like that stuff. And then down here at the bottom, I get to choose. The choices are public, unlisted, or private. Private's not going to be shared.
Back and change a public one?
Absolutely. Yep. Just like a Google Doc or another item that we have in Google. So we're going to need to select playlists. I'm going to go ahead and make this one. Well, I'm going to make it public, but I mean, that's the way you'd make it unlisted is just choose it here. So once I've created it, this is in a playlist. So the question now is, how do I get to my playlist and how would I modify it? In the upper left corner, and I really am going to stop talking here. In the upper left corner, it's not 3 dots, it's 3 bars, but that allows you to see your sidebar. And if you click on show more, this is where all of your playlists are. And usually it's going to have your most recent one at the top.
Yes, it does. Space exploration.
There it is. Thank you so much, because I'm sitting here looking for it and I'm blind. So there it is. So there's space exploration. So this is my playlist. I'll actually show you one that has more in it because it's a little more interesting as far as sorting and stuff. But these pencils are what allow you to edit. And so this would be to edit the title. This would be to edit the description. If I click on the little 3 dots here, I have playlist settings. No, that wasn't it. Advanced.
How do you get all those options when you try to save a video? Do you have to be in your channel?
No.
All I can see is watch later.
Okay, you don't have a save button beside it?
I don't have to. Only gives me that choice.
It probably just says watch later. Yeah.
It says playlist.
Yeah, I have created my playlist before. Yeah. So when I clicked on,
Oh, he had many playlists.
I've made more I've just made more playlists. So you're
These are ones he's made.
you're only seeing watch later because it's made for you automatically.
Yeah.
YouTube doesn't make, it just makes one playlist for you. So I have made those before. Yeah, I had a computer class one, and those are all mine. So and watch later is always private. So that's why it has the little lock over there. And so once you create playlists, yeah, they will start to show up for you because you can just add to those.
And so what you can do later on is once you've made a playlist, like let's say he wants to add that video to 2 or 3 different playlists, he can check all the boxes that he wants to add it to.
Oh, and that's a great point too, because you can add it to more than one. Oh, this is going to fit in my space unit and this in my STEM and whatever. So I mean, and playlists are great; they are fantastic. So last thing about playlists, you can get to these a couple different ways. If I go back to my YouTube studio, so your playlists show over here under Show More. You can also go in the corner to your icon and choose YouTube Studio. And in addition to my videos, analytics, I've got playlists, okay? And so this actually might be what I'm looking for. I can click Edit, and this is going, oh, it's gonna take me here. So I'm looking for, how do I say it's not, it's just under the title. So when I click the pencil to edit the title, it gives me that choice again to say public, unlisted, or private. And you can go in and change that at any time. So you can start with an unlisted, make it public. Why would you want to make it public? Well, if kids are going to come to your channel, I mean, if you're going to have some public videos out there, it's kind of cool to have public playlists. I mean, you're probably going to be sending it directly to them in Google Classroom. They're going to click on it and get into it that way. But when you create, and I've just done this a little bit for my own teacher channel, I think for school, I've done more on my personal. But when I choose my channel, you can decide what this looks like. So I've made a little graphic at the top. I can choose what my featured video is. And then I choose to have playlists show here. So here's my lesson cast tutorials. Actually, this is presentations that I make other places. It doesn't have to be your playlist. You can find a playlist somebody else has made, subscribe to it, and have it here. So anyway, this is just how, if you want to, you can set up your channel. Anytime people click on videos, this is going to be, the most recent videos that you've created and you've published.
Does the title of your channel really matter?
Actually, as a teacher now, we can't change the title of our channel. They switched this, and we used to be able to have what are called branded accounts, which meant we could share. And like we had one called Learning Tutorials, and the athletics department had them and whatever. Now, as a school and a Google education organization, we have to have a separate email for each one, and you can only have one channel for each email address. So on a personal Google account, you can name your account whatever you want, and it doesn't have to be your name.
My YouTube.
But your YouTube account, thank you. But for education accounts now, I cannot, well, if I change my name, it's going to change it across all of Google. Because your
channel name.
Yeah, your YouTube channel name is whatever your name is in your Google account. Okay. And I don't know why they kind of seem to crack down on education. Not like I think we were probably abusing it, but I don't know. It's weird. But that caused some issues with videos and things like that we had in these brand accounts, and we had to transfer, and communications had to do some stuff.
Google accounts to support.
We had to, I think I don't know. That was a mystery. But yeah, we had to change ownership of the account and to make the account actually owned by a non-Casady, or you could download the videos and re-upload them. And it was kind of a mess. So and that just happened in the last 2 years.
One thing I noticed, so when I was playing around with it, I made my playlist be unlisted.
Uh-huh.
And so it ended up looking a little bit differently. So there are a few different ways to get to your playlist, but I just want to point this out because at first I was like, where did it go? Do you mind if I?
Yeah, go ahead and show. Yeah, let me disconnect and go right ahead. And I think I will officially stop the recording if you've watched. Thank you.
So I was getting to it. I just clicked on